Hey everyone, this is Phil
and Lilith
of the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
You're listening to Into the Night,
The Moon Knight podcast.
Yes, welcome back, loony listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 173, and you are with your High Priest of Khonshu Rey. Welcome, and tonight, for your listening pleasure, we have a couple of great co-hosts returning to the show. One of them is the other High Priest of Khonshu, Rebecca, and OG co-host. Rebecca, how are you?
I'm good. It's been a long time and I've missed you all. So. Yeah,
no, it's great to have you. I'm very excited to chat about not only our comic book review, but some other stuff just happening in and around the traps for Moon Knight. So a big welcome back. And also our loony extraordinaire and audio commentator now, the power of Chad. Chad, welcome back.
Hello.
And loony listeners, you may know, if you do look out the window in the night sky, you will see it is a waxing crescent, and Khonshu decrees that for this episode we do a LUNAR-PICK modern run review. So tonight we'll be looking at Moon Knight Volume 6, Issue 9, still called First Story. I guess that's what it says on Wiki. But yeah, we'll get cracking into that. That should be a good one. 3 minds, 1 run. How does it all, pan out? A big thank you to our...
Sounds like the podcast there. 3 minds, 1 run.
Yeah, it does. A big thank you to our patronies as well, our fellow tier members, co-producers and executive producers. Thank you so much for contributing to the show. It really does help, and it helps expand the show as well. So a huge thank you to the likes of Dustin, Justin, Derek, Wayne, Jordan, Josh, James, Russell, and Anthony. And a big shout out again to Justin the Owl, who was on last week. It was a lot of fun speaking to him for the very first time over the airwaves. Also, a big thank you to Hello Headphones, empowering gamers to play at their best, and Dreamland Comics from Illinois, the superhero superstore. So, welcome aboard, Rebecca and Chad. This is cool. We've had a bit of a chat already, offline / recording for the patronies. I know you've been really busy, Rebecca, but anything else happened exciting over the last few weeks for you? What do you want the spot?
I've been really busy.
Okay, just busy, yeah.
I bought a lot of Kickstarter comics.
Oh, awesome.
And I hope to read some of them. So
fantastic.
This is my first day off in like a couple of weeks. So yeah, I think after this there will be some reading.
Okay.
And I've been catching up on a lot more indie stuff. Buying a lot and looking at these 2 piles, and occasionally I just put a big pile in front of myself and say, try and read some of that.
How do you just...
always work.
Yeah, I mean, just out of curiosity as well, how do you, I don't know, pick and choose your Kickstarter comics?
Well, it's got really weird this year because the post's gone up a lot.
Yeah.
For some of them. So I haven't done any of the big name American ones because the postage is usually the same for the postage as it is for the book. It'll be the same for you in Australia, I imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't have the money to spend $20 on a book and then pay $20 to $25 shipping.
Yeah.
So a lot of them have just been the British indie comic scene that I kind of know some of the people, or they're friends of friends.
Oh, great.
Or they'll suggest ones, or people I've seen at cons.
Yep.
And they all seem to put stuff out this year, which is not that surprising given our very long lockdown.
And, oh yeah, gosh, how's that going? Jeez.
Well, we're now on lockdown 2. So
yeah,
this is lockdown, but our first one was 3 months. Now we're in another month.
Gosh.
So I think in that 3 months, a lot of people who couldn't work or didn't have work, if they happened to be, or just had more time because they weren't commuting and stuff. It wasn't so much that it made people more creative. I think it just gave them a bit of time,
a bit more
impetus to make some money.
Yeah.
So, and on the flip side, I was saying to you earlier, I had this crazy period in the start of the first lockdown where I was extraordinarily busy with work. Like, there was nobody else to ask to do stuff, and we were getting new projects. And I was just like, well, if I'm going to spend money, I'd like it to go to people who are like not doing so well right now. So, which meant Kickstarter became more of a focus because it's getting money directly into people's hands.
Yeah.
And so I just keep getting this stuff that I didn't even know I backed. I keep getting these emails from I think before this year I'd only backed 3 or 4 Kickstarters. And all of a sudden there's like a delivery a week, So so that's been kind of fun.
Oh, no.
But yeah, so that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, great.
Mostly buying indie comics that I either have the time to read or don't.
Yeah, I mean, before I forget as well, so with Kickstarter, Rebecca, is that you do a pledge and that helps raise the funds to do it. Is there still any way to support those sorts of people? Because I was thinking if you pass on the information to me, I can put the links in the show notes to help.
Yeah, I mean, most Kickstarters will have a tier which is just donate $1 or £1 because you like the project. Yeah. So there's always but a lot of them have like, £2 or £3 to get the digital copy.
Yes.
And then, so that way you don't have shipping. So I'll do that sometimes for the American ones.
Okay.
But yeah, it's and like they all have this kind of, if they reach a certain point, then it'll happen.
Yep.
I think some of them you back them thinking maybe it won't happen, but I'll back it anyway, and then it does.
Hedge your bets and go, oops.
Yeah.
you give yourself like the $1,000 tier. It happens.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, the Keanu Reeves had like $1,000 tier, so you laugh, but there was one.
Oh, was that the Berserker one?
Yeah. I think like for $1,000, whatever, you could have yourself written into a panel.
Wow.
Or something like that, yeah.
Jeez.
But let's say for that one, like the shipping was so grotesque.
Oh.
That I was just like, even if I was interested, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to pay you $75 for shipping for three trades that I won't get till 2022.
Yeah, that is the downside.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the downside of being, on the other side of the world and postage. It's the same with me. I mean, I'm just so glad that you've spoken about Kickstarter because I'm supporting one as well. I want to give a quick shout out. I might as well do it now before I forget.
Yeah.
Crossover Division. It's by Will Allred. He's one of the co-hosts on the Quantum Zone, the Quasar podcast. Really cool, a fun idea about two guys. Things where I guess realities from classic literature or different tales, like say the Wizard of Oz or Dracula.
Cool.
They have this crossover with reality, and these guys have to kind of do something in order that it doesn't happen. Really, it sounds like a really cool premise, but exactly like you say, it's cost me more to actually have it posted over to Australia than my actual I would have loved to have gone for a higher tier, but I'm already paying like over double than what.
Yeah, and I think people doing Kickstarters understand that.
Yeah, for sure.
It just means that a lot of the big ones that I would have liked to support, I've been like, you know what, and a lot of the big ones will end up in shops anyway. So
yeah, and you can support them through that.
Just got to get past that kind of comic collector of I need the best thing or buy what you can afford.
Well, if you do share the links, listeners, it will be in the show notes. Go check it out. Consider supporting these independent comics because it is a really good cause. And as Rebecca said, I mean, with the current climate, around the world, it will really help creators, keep on doing what they love doing. And Chad, how about you? I heard a bit of I don't know if you want to, expound on it, but how have you been the last couple of weeks or so? Things looking good?
Yep. I had a job interview this morning after I got off work, and it seemed to go really well.
Nice one.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I said I hope it goes really well.
Yes. Chad, are you still there?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean that's it. I mean if you come away with a good feeling, that's that's one step. At least the worst would be going out just going, I totally botched it. So best of luck with that, Chad. I mean I know that's been something that you've been working towards for a while, and I mean if the employers are listening, hire the man.
Fingers crossed. Hired him.
Exactly. But doing any reads, Chad, or anything like that, or watching anything of note lately?
My wife and I have been watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's especially hilarious.
Yeah.
Let's see. We've been looking at cracking open Misfits again. It's
Okay.
kind of like a teen superhero thing, but they're all
Is
like
that a
young
UK
offenders.
based as well?
Extremely British.
Yeah.
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 It's got the guy from Game of Thrones.
It's got the guy from Game of Thrones. It's got the guy from Umbrella Academy. And it's got the guy from Preacher as well.
Oh, okay.
I'll add, yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's,
Later
springboard.
on,
That's in the last series.
Oh, right. Oh, cool. Well, Misfits, that sounds good. I've only seen the cover to the DVD or the Blu-ray of it.
It's very fun.
Is it? Okay.
They're very, yeah, if you imagine like British sarky teens who are all, getting powers and what they'd actually do with them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of.
Oh, nice one. Well, yeah. I mean, as mentioned as well, I've been trying to support someone on Kickstarter, which is pretty cool. I've just been reading some old comics. Just works usual as it is. But we were talking a bit before. Colin Barnes. I've been reading some of his old Deadpool Back in Black, and also.
Oh, that's a series.
It's good. Yeah. Did you like it?
I liked the beginning of it a lot. It was a little bit bonkers, but it was good.
It was good, yeah. I mean, there were 5 parts, and they were all kind of standalone-ish, except for like the last part which tied everything up. But I really liked it. There was one in the issue 3 which had Black Cat and White Rabbit in there, and it was exceptionally fun, I thought. I really enjoyed it. So just been reading some of the old stuff, just on Marvel Unlimited, and a little shout out to Capes and Lunatics, because I do love leaving feedback to them. So they were reviewing it. But also I did read a Superman comic by Dan Jurgens, and in the 90s. And also, dare I say, I'm going to get it out of the way, Batman, a Detective Comics thing, Anarchy, 608, 609. I'm not sure.
Oh, I know of Anarchy.
Yeah. Does he come back, or like? I'm sure there's no spoilers because okay.
Don't quote me.
Okay, because he seemed like a big character, but the 2 issues I read, it pretty much is a wrap up. So I thought, oh, okay, well, but I guess nothing really wraps up in comics.
I'm pretty sure there was some excitement about him coming back at some point. So
Okay.
I'm guessing that means, you know me, I don't really follow DC.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Unless it's Midnighter.
Oh, yes.
Let's go see
Of course.
Hey, Midnighter's coming back.
Yeah, in Future
Yeah, I
State,
know.
right? Or
Yeah.
that looks
The
like a
only one I'm
promising.
buying currently. It does, but it just looks expensive, so I'm gonna have to limit myself. But yeah.
And do you have
that's
to
the
get
other
them? Or...
consideration.
Sorry.
I have to get the mid. No, you don't.
Okay, so it's
But,
not one of
there's
those.
a lot of ones. No, but there's probably a lot of ones I would try
Okay.
if it wasn't just gonna rack up the cost, and
Yeah.
so I'll be limiting myself.
Okay.
Maybe not just Midnighter. I think there were some other ones I was interested in, but that's definitely the top one.
Oh,
It's
right.
always the top one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking of getting the Wonder Woman one. I always like and
I've still not read a Wonder Woman comic.
I haven't. The Greg Rucka run is really cool. I've read that. That's
I have heard, but
Yeah.
I should.
and I don't know if that.
Really where
Yeah, I don't know if that's like the best one or whatever. And all the others aren't as good. But I've heard Gail Simone's pretty good as well, and I like her writing.
Mm-hmm.
So But anyway, the Future State. Yeah, I thought it would be a good opportunity to dip into DC with that kind of thing.
I
But
think so. Yeah, I think so. And also, I like that they're trying out a lot of new writers and stuff like that.
yeah, which is very encouraging. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Or new to them writers, I should say.
Yeah, gives them a little bit of scope to kind of flex their muscles, show what they got as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, for White Noise, Loonies, we've got a couple of bits of news here. One courtesy of Rebecca. And so this is the first time, and I know I've seen these things about Rebecca, but it's the first time I've seen it actually advertised and seen as limited editions and stuff like that. But
yeah, I was really shocked. I was like, I don't even ask. I saw somebody make some reference to. No, I was trying to find out if they had officially announced the actor for Moon Knight on the day that I said.
Yes,
right? This is how stupidly this came about. So I just did a search for Moon Knight on Twitter, and that was the first thing that came up, and I went, "Huh, interesting."
That's pretty cool.
Because a friend of mine just sent me the Goose one that he got as a special offer when he went to see Captain Marvel. So we're talking about what, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Finally sent me it. So I've now seen a fig pin, and then to suddenly have that come up, and then so to apologize to people that I didn't explain that it was just this kind of slightly oversized badge. Yeah. But it is kind of funky that they're doing a Moon Knight one, like not out of nowhere. Clearly, they know there's heightened interest with the film and with the show, but I'm surprised they're not waiting till nearer the show.
Yeah, I mean, because it's still a while away.
Especially as they announce it as like characters we all love, and it's like,
I know, very random.
I love him. That's fine, but like it's an interesting selection of characters. Like
it's
have him next to Iron Man and Spider-Man.
Spider-Man and Hulk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have Spider-Man, you have Spider-Man, Hulk, and you have Sleepwalker. All your favourites. It's like, what?
Yeah. And it's like I think maybe Moon Knight's very distinctive look is doing a lot of work there for getting him into those things. But it was exciting to actually be able to say, look, there's some actual news, and hopefully we'll get a lot more of that. So
oh no, for sure. So and again, this has been in our group and posted up. So it is fig pin and exclusive. There are some exclusive pins, limited edition to 2000, and they're available for pre-order at figpin.com. And as we've mentioned, one of them is Moon Knight. We've got Iron Man, Spider-Man, Hulk as well. So get in quick. It says the pre-orders start on Wednesday the 18th, which has just passed actually as you listen to this, or if you're in the US, it's towards the end of the 18th for you. So yeah, that's what I find, Rebecca, the most hilarious was the idea of you having a look at the calendar going and rolling the dice going, oh, this is the date that I chose, and you having a check going.
Well, it's because it was the Disney investor meeting, so I did pick sensibly.
Wow, okay.
I was like, oh, did they actually announce it? Like, so it was a bit of like, oh, I picked that date, but I was like, kind of looking to see what they announced in the investor day. It was like pretty much nothing.
Yeah, but I had a bit of a cheeky look to see.
Disney Plus is doing, and that just came up. So just so people know, I'm not always finding these things.
No, it's very good actually.
A lot of luck. Yeah.
I want to get one as well. It all depends on, again, as long as it doesn't cost $100 to post over.
You know what? Okay. I did a test purchase on a Baby Yoda one, and they don't ship outside. They don't. They only.
Oh, what? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, how about you, Chad? Are you gonna partake in pinning Moon Knight to your collar?
I don't think so. Not really much of like a badge guy, except for like on my jacket. I just don't want to lose those things.
Oh yeah, true.
I totally feel you. Like the only people I know who really collect them have like sashes to put all their badges on. They don't wear them.
Right.
But no, I totally get it. I literally would not be. I have very few. For the same reason, I just think either the cat will knock them around the room, or like all the ones I have are in a drawer, because when we first got Ozzy, he was very interested in them.
Of course.
So, so they're all hidden in different drawers around the house.
Yeah.
So occasionally, when I want to try and find one, it's very hard.
Oh no! I always think of Rick from the Young Ones with badges You know, when any mention of badges, you know,
Yeah,
you hear the
yeah.
whole his People Poets
I love
Society.
that you have a Young Ones reference.
Yeah.
Nobody ever
Ashes.
talks about the Young Ones.
Yeah.
But he actually did have lots of badges.
Yeah, he was part of every society, I think, at university, wherever he went.
Yeah.
Also, another bit of news, now this came from Discussing Film, and it goes into, again, I'm not too sure how much confirmation this all is, but it does certainly sound convincing. So, apparently there's some production tidbits as well. So, we have Gregory Middleton as a cinematographer for apparently the Moon Knight TV show on Disney+. So he served on movies such as Make Your Move, Final Girl, American Woman, and A Babysitter's Guide to Monster Hunting. That sounds like an Oscar winner, that one. Anyway, he's most known for his work on TV. Oh, Misfits. He did the pilot episode to The Misfits and Broken, as well as Watchmen, Game of Thrones, and Fringe. So far out, he's kind of elevated.
It's a pretty good. Back catalogue, especially with the Watchmen, which was just incredible.
Oh,
I just started watching Watchmen, and I gotta say I'm blown away by it.
Is it not such a? It's phenomenal, isn't it? It's crazy.
It's like mind blowing how good it is.
Yeah. It is, the quality
Just
is
how
just.
well. I mean, and I love Damon Lindelof, so I was going to watch it regardless because The Leftovers is like my favorite. Like, I think it's like one of the top TV shows of currently, or of that sort of period. And so when I heard he was doing Watchmen, I was like, apart from all the, do I really want to watch a Watchmen show? The fact that he was doing it meant that I was going to watch it.
Yeah.
And it just blew me away.
Yeah. It's a testament to the quality of the showrunner. If you, regardless of the content, you're gonna watch it. So that's pretty cool. Stefania Cella, I'm gonna say, is the production designer on Moon Knight. So Cella's no stranger apparently to Marvel projects, and wrapped up her work as production designer on the Morbius film, which
none of us have seen. So let's just hope it is.
Let's hope it's good. Yeah.
Well, I don't care.
Let's hope it doesn't suck.
I hope the I hope the production design is good.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm like hanging out for it, but I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I think it'll be fun anyway to see. I've got no qualms with Jared Leto in the lead, and it kind of got me that last little teaser bit where his face turned into that more comic booky Morbius. I thought that was pretty cool. So
yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
I like that he got the pig snout.
Yeah,
that's
that
key.
Interested.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
I
can understand
when
that too.
See it, and I'm not all that interested, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, it just depends on how much, if they do G it up, and if it somehow, we'll see. Also, finally, more.
It's so much in the air with it all at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the whole thing about Black Widow and this going to stream? Was it video?
Get excited
VOD?
about films right now, generally, because we have no idea what's going on, and
Well, give us time to catch up. I've still got to watch Bloodshot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, don't worry about that
Yeah,
too much, right?
I know. I remember your comments on that.
I know I shouldn't say it.
That's
but
a shocker. No, I can imagine. I can imagine.
Wait a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Don't prioritize that one.
And the last bits of production, tidbits as they call it in Discussing Film, is that Moon Knight will be filmed in Budapest, and they go on to say that Oscar Isaac, who will star in the series, again there's no real confirmation yet, but he's no stranger to Budapest as he filmed Dune there, in the capital city. So they go on... Sorry?
So good.
Is it?
I mean, Budapest is so good. No, Budapest.
Oh, Budapest, yeah.
I love it. It's like one of my favourite cities.
I'd love to go. Yeah, I didn't go there on my jaunt.
It's so gorgeous.
Right.
Like, we went randomly because it was like just before it properly opened up.
Mm-hmm.
So everything, like, we had to rely a lot on Zoe speaking Russian and
Cool.
German, like the two languages. And they have but it's really fun. They have we went to a communist themed restaurant.
Awesome. What does that mean?
Well, it was just that it has all the big posters that they took down
okay,
when
just
they
propaganda.
defeated communism.
Yeah.
And like had goulash and then but we went to the Turkish bars as well,
Cool.
and the architecture's amazing, and they have caves like really near the city that you can go in, and they also had this labyrinth that you could go around with an oil lamp at night.
Oh.
Which was kind of incredible. And what else did we do there that was really bizarre? Just everything about it was just very friendly and very nice. And they did this like dark light stuff, and it was just really cool. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, like as in...
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope that
It's a
TV
really,
shows...
really nice city. Yeah. So I hope we get to see some of the beautiful architecture.
Yeah. No, that for sure. Because I can imagine it'll be very different from the rest of, Western Europe.
I'm so interested in how they do it. How they do Moon Knight. But I'm just trying not to dampen down any speculation, but I hope it is Oscar Isaac. And we have to remember that Marvel very rarely actually come out and confirm these things.
Yes.
Like the first thing you'll see is sometimes on-set shots. So
yeah, I was listening to a podcast and they said that apparently... sorry, this is going a little bit different. It's to do with Tatiana Maslany's denial of being in She-Hulk.
Yeah.
But apparently Paul Rudd did that as well a couple of times. So
yeah, he did, and somebody else did it as well, quite famously. It's it's down to NDAs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like if they're not allowed to officially say it, they'll say they're not, or they'll say that that's not confirmed, or well, they can't even say that really because they'll say no because what's it matter?
yes, exactly.
No one's really going to come and tell them off afterwards. But yeah. I mean, it's sounding likely that it's Oscar Isaac in that there's not been an actual denial.
Yep.
And, people seem pretty sure it is. And pretty cool. I know there's a huge controversy and I'm not going to touch it.
Yeah.
I'll come and ask you about it separately.
Yeah,
But,
I think...
I'm not going to discuss it on a podcast.
Yeah, I'd be happy to have Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight. I mean, again, everyone will probably have their personal preference, and like maybe a few others as well. If it turns out not to be true, and if it turns out that Oliver Jackson Cohen gets it, then I'd be pretty happy. But if Oscar Isaac gets it, then yeah, so be it. I'm not going to.
I think I just want it to be an actor who can pull it off.
Yeah.
And I think Marvel clearly have an idea what age they were going to go, and
yes,
probably Oliver Jackson Cohen sounded a little bit young.
Bit on the young
the
side.
Other people that read for the part.
Yeah.
That we know of. So I think it'd be interesting, but I'm not going to turn down having somebody who's an incredible actor.
Absolutely.
Play the part.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll see what the other stuff. Like I said, everyone's going to have different views of.
Yep. Oh, it's not gonna please everyone. That's for sure. So
no, and we're way off. So, but
yeah,
and please, lots of topless shots.
Yeah, and Chad as well. Happy to see Oscar in there. I'm pretty sure we've
definitely.
Yeah.
I really liked him in Ex Machina.
Yeah.
What was it? There was this other show I saw him in, and he just
Age of Apocalypse.
Oh no, Mojave. Right. That's what it was. And he played this unhinged guy from the desert.
Oh.
And it was just bonkers. I really liked him.
Okay.
He's, and then he's also very good at playing very restrained, was the one he did the TV show about the businessman. Anyway, he's very good at he can just play lots of different roles. And that's kind of what we need.
Exactly, that's what you want. And he brings a quite
and
high...
his physicality does actually suggest could have been a mercenary.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So no, it would be good. I'm just going to throw in as well, just a little back about Budapest as well. There've been speculation and chatting amongst. I'm not sure if you heard about potential connections with Black Widow and Hawkeye. They do mention Budapest in the MCU. It's a bit of a slight connection.
I think just because he's filming that, I doubt very much they'll say, "Hi, we're in Budapest."
Yeah, true.
Do you know what I mean?
It could be
he's in Budapest.
Yes, true.
To take the part of anywhere in Europe.
Yes, yeah.
It's like they filmed lots of various Marvel films in Prague, I don't think they've been like, "Hi, we're in Prime."
Yeah, true. Yeah, exactly. No,
But I mean, it's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, there'll be a nice little connection because mercenary soldier days or whatever. Yeah, may possibly. I don't know. Thoughts, Chad, on that? Is that just like a whimsical thing? That's probably is.
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't there something about Falcon and Winter Soldier dropping in Budapest?
Ah, okay.
I could be wrong, but
In the upcoming show, or?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, possibly. Very, very possible. So, I mean, that could tie it into it. So, yeah. Well, I guess, again, we're a long way off. We'll have to wait and see. And finally, as well, this article mentions that filming will begin early next year, 2021. And they go on to say, because Oscar Isaac wraps HBO's Scenes from a Marriage, which he'll be filming this month. And it's capped off with Jeremy Slater will serve as showrunner on Moon Knight, with Mohammed Diab set to direct all 6 episodes. So I guess we get a number. I think a lot of people, I mean, that was kind of bandied about it before anyway, 6 episodes. And isn't that what WandaVision and...
I think they all are. I think they're all aim to be between 6 and 8 or something. And most of them are rumoured to be 6. But I think there's one that's rumoured to be 8. But I'm not going to commit to it because I may not remember rightly. I kind of
like it because it's kind of like a 6-issue arc on the comic.
I like it because it's I just like them knowing what their run length is and being able to plan for that, and whether it's 6 or it's 8. 8 suggests that 6 suggests there won't be too much flab.
Yep. Exactly. So yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait. There you go, loonies. That is news again. Nothing like Disney or Marvel have confirmed any of this, but discussing film, I don't know, Chad or Rebecca, do you know if that website discussing film is credible, at least, or... I don't know if you've come across it.
I think they're as credible as most of the gossip sites.
Well, I mean,
do you know
hopefully...
what I mean? I'm not... No, I mean as the ones that tend to have the...
Yeah.
It's 90% likely stuff that is either being guessed or is being bandied around from one to the other.
Yeah, it's like not like we got this covered.
Stories.
Yeah.
It's not we got this covered or bounding into comics or whatever. Like, it's not one of the comic gatey ones.
Okay, good. Excellent. Well,
it's also not variety.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I mean, those are the 2 bits of news for this past week. Loonies, I'm hoping that kind of whets your appetite, keeps things up vibe and interesting for Moon Knight ahead. Anyway, I don't know. We should get into the comic book review that we're all here for. But before that, why don't we just go to a quick break? Let's get ourselves ready. And Loonies will be right back after a few messages from some fellow podcasters. See you soon.
Hello, I'm Anthony.
And I'm Dr. Issues.
And we're hosts of Capes on the Couch, the podcast where comics get counseling.
Superheroes don't always get to go home happy. That's where we come in.
We offer psychiatric and mental health analysis of comic book characters.
So check us out at capesonthecouch.live and across all social media platforms at Capes on the Couch.
Yes, welcome back, Looney listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 173, and you are with Ray, hello, Rebecca, and Chad, and we are here to review... Hello, Rebecca. Sorry, I didn't give you some space to say hello to the Looney listeners. And we're here for our LUNAR-PICK Modern Run review. Now, as always, for listeners that... have listened, or actually for listeners that haven't listened to this before, what we'll generally do is we'll go through just the credits, we'll go through a synopsis, or what we like to call a bare bones. It gives you a gist of what this issue is about and what we will be discussing, and we'll cap it off with a... we will talk about it, ranging from writing, art, themes, characterizations, and references to any other runs if applicable. And then we'll cap that off with a moon rating. So we have 2 rating systems. We have the vanilla rating based on the phases of the moon, or we have the path-depending Khonshu's rating system. So Rebecca, Chad, and I will be.
I've missed it.
So you're going for Connors?
You know I'm going for Connors. I don't understand yours, right?
Of course. I'm just still waiting for the big 10 out of 10, and someone uses this Connors thing. I know, Chad. It's in there, for you somewhere. Like there's an issue coming up.
Well, you know which run to get me on.
Yeah, exactly. I should just I should kind of manipulate it.
Invite people onto which,
yeah, exactly. Just to hear the rating.
Yeah.
Well, if you remember, Ray, I actually gave a 10 out of 10 in the past.
You did, yeah.
It has Spotlight number 3.
Yes, it's it's not like it hasn't happened before, but it's not often enough. So we'll. I mean, Connor and I as well. We gave, I think, Lemire's run. I think we were going.
I think Lemire's run, but when we were talking about that back in the day,
we were going 12 out of 10.
Back in the day, there was a lot of 10. But you know what?
Yeah.
That was probably before the rating system.
That's true. Before Connor.
Yeah, I think since the rating. Yeah, because before we had the rating system, we would just do.
We were just like willy-nilly.
But that's also when we were doing the Lemire run. So like we all loved it. So a lot of 9.5s and 10s.
Exactly, and a lot more exceeding that as well. I do remember. As for the 12 out. Oh my god, it's so good. 15 out of 10. It's like we go a bit crazy, but. We're trying to add some maths to it. Now, Rebecca, what do we have for credits for this issue that we're doing?
For Moon Knight Volume 6, Number 9, released in March 2012. The heady days. Writer Brian Michael Bendis. Don't we know it? Penciler Alex Maleev. Colorist Matt Hollingsworth. Letterer Cory Petit. Cory Petit, probably, and editor Stephen Wacker. Mm-hmm. Oh, and it's available in floppy, digital, on Marvel Unlimited, which is also digital, and in hardcover.
Yes.
Because Bendis gets a lot of his comics out in hardcover.
He does, doesn't he? And this was actually released... Sorry, Rebecca?
Yeah, he does. I was just
and he does. This was released twice in hardcover. So once with 6 in 2 volumes, like 1 to 6 and then 7 to 12. And then more recently it was re-released as a hardcover in its entirety of all 12 issues. So if you...
It's a nice way to buy it.
It is. It's short enough to actually... 12 issue hardcovers are pretty sweet. They're good, yeah. It's not like an Omni. I find omnibuses pretty hard to read, I must say. They look great on the shelf. They do. They're almost impossible to read. Yeah, I mean, they actually deter me from... It's unfortunate. They deter me from reading them because they're just a little bit too big and bulky. But anyway, thank you, Rebecca. Chad, and we do have the bare bones, courtesy of Wiki. So if you would please do the honours, my good sir.
Absolutely. Using the plasma shield that Buck created, Marc protects himself and Echo from Nefaria's attack rays. Moon Knight quickly throws the shield to distract Nefaria and rush Maya to safety. On the rooftops, Marc runs along the building edge to avoid Nefaria's rays, but he is still blown off the edge. In a clutch moment, Marc uses webslingers that Buck created for Marc to slow his fall. Now on the streets, Nefaria hovers over Marc as he tries to run. Nefaria swoops down, releasing his rays. But Moon Knight blocks the attack once again when his shield, but this time, he grounds Nefaria to the floor with webbing him down. Maya enters to strike. Nefaria releases himself to attack Maya, but Marc slings him once more to hold him back and allow a car to collide with him. The two now simultaneously attack, and Moon Knight releases the Wolverine claws to cut Nefaria's neck. Marc is hesitant to kill Nefaria, which gives the Count the opportunity to break away. Maya tries to keep him down, but unleashes a ray that pierces Maya in the chest. The Wolverine within Marc is enraged and kills the Captain America and Spider-Man personalities. I didn't see that in the pages at all.
No, I don't remember that either. But when we get back to that.
Yeah.
Only listening to Logan and Moon Knight becomes unleashed.
Yeah.
And slight edit, there was no plasma shield. It was a 0-point energy shield.
Yes, good pickup.
Godzilla fans might understand that.
Oh, nice one, Chad. You've just upped the credit, credibility of this review thing. That's cool. So, what is a 0-point energy? That sounds pretty cool. Good pickup, Chad. And I might as well just start off anyway.
Oh, you know what? He does kill them.
He does at the end. Yeah. Well, I thought he killed Cap. I didn't know if he killed Spider-Man, but yeah, he.
No, you just see him pull his claws on Spider-Man, but I think it's implied.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that was one of the big things for me in this issue, that kind of thing. But we'll get to that as well. I mean, but first off, Chad, I guess overall, what did you make of this issue?
I'm kind of bitter about this run, and it just kind of comes to a head at this single issue where just having these multiple personalities that aren't a part of him, they're, strange, like I said before, amalgamations of himself and these other heroes. They just don't sync very well.
Okay.
And it just kind of proves its point here. He can't listen to any of them, and he's stuck in limbo. And causes Echo to die.
Yeah, well, this is certainly a big issue for the whole kind of story. Interesting points. I'd love to get into that when we share. Rebecca, how about you overall? What did you think of this?
Yeah, I'm not bitter about this run, but I don't love it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's I don't think the Cap Spider-Man Wolverine thing work. I don't think they are as interesting as Jake Lockley and Stephen Grant and Marc Spector as characters, and Khonshu. I think so. I don't think they equate to the character. I think it's intrinsically for me Bendis reading a character very differently from I've ever read it and not actually adding anything to me, just annoying me. And with this issue, I think Chad's right. It does come to a head in this issue because you also get and now I'm going to have each of their powers.
Yeah.
And you're like, really? Like, I mean, I don't know. It's just like, there's things like I don't hate it.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I just wouldn't care if I'd never read it either.
Yeah. No.
I don't think it adds anything. And the whole, I think there's an interesting point to be made there, but if you can't make a decision yourself because you're listening to other voices, then you do sometimes become the person who does nothing and it leads to somebody else dying. But I don't buy that. I don't buy it. Like it doesn't carry me along. But it's nice to look at. Beautiful art.
Well, you can't fault it for the art, for sure. Look, surprise, surprise, I'd probably take a little bit more of a lenient edge to it. The way I see it as well, I mean, of course, at this stage, it's issue 9. It's a given that Bendis he's kind of turned the tables a bit on Moon Knight for me. So he's got these 3 identities. Fair enough. They're not... And I agree with you, Rebecca, as well. Jake, Stephen, and Marc are far better, far superior, but we're stuck with these characters. What I feel Bendis does in this issue for these characters, for these toys that he's actually started to use in his sandbox, I feel that they're used. I felt that they were kind of effectively used in the sense that we now get a conflict between them with the showcase of the weaponry. We actually start to actually see them more actively involved in it, rather than just be these apparitions, just barking at Marc's in Marc's ear, or just kind of trying to influence him. So I think
I just wish he could use his powers.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we're not going to get that. In here, which I think I've just kind of made peace with that, and I'm just okay. Well, let's see what we're rolling with. We're rolling with Wolvie, Cap, and Spider-Man, and I don't know. I think the introduction with with the shield and getting into the description of it, how it's not the cap shield, but it is, as Chad points out, a 0 point. Is it a 0 point energy shield?
Energy field,
which we have seen in cap used in comics, which is pretty cool. But it was good to get into that kind of detail of it. I thought that was cool. I thought also the fact that shield reverse engineered Spider-Man's webbing, I thought that was a cool touch, because if you think about it...
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I mean, and if you think about it, it's like, of course, for any geek out there, they'd know that an hour is the lifespan of the webbing before it dissolves. So... you can conceivably see a shield agent grab a bit of webbing before it goes and easily
managing to do something with it.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, the Wolverine claws. It's not adamantium, but again, Bendis goes into detail of it has a higher pressure tolerance or something than your forearm. So it is strong. It's actually stronger than your forearm. So it's basically, it is an effective weapon, and we see all of them used in the fight with Count Nefaria, and basically this is a throwdown. It's basically Moon Knight v Count Nefaria, and it's pretty cool that he uses them, I think. But yeah, I totally agree that this isn't Moon Knight, but it's fun in that sense, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not as bad as I remembered it being. So.
Yeah, me too.
I may not have had
Yeah, I guess it's because there was such a... I mean, it's such a huge statement to take away those identities of Marc Spector and not even actually acknowledge any of the... We don't get any of the Khonshu. There's no Khonshu aspect to it at all. So
it's very odd to me.
Yeah, it's literally a guy.
In many ways.
Yeah, it's a guy with multiple personality that has taken on Spider-Man, Captain America, and Wolverine. And the fact that at the end as well, that Chad, as you're saying, that these personalities come into conflict, I thought that was pretty cool. I was likening that akin to, say, when in Bemis's run, when Lockley goes behind Stephen Grant. I love it when these alters kind of... they fight internally, and Lemire did that as well.
I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the bits that are interesting to me. They're just really interesting picks to me because it's a very Bendis. Like, it just feels like Bendis twisting something that he wants to do rather than it all fitting organically. Rather than you see it and you think, oh, actually, that's an interesting one.
Yes.
Like if one of them had been Punisher, like instead of Wolverine.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been a lot better.
Right. So, but you see what I mean? It's like, so I'm trying to think of which could have been the other ones.
Yeah.
But because there's plenty of billionaires, but maybe Iron Fist even for that side. I mean, just like there's just some very interesting, and it just seems like they're weird picks to me, and they seem to be ones that maybe he wanted to write.
Yeah.
And that was his way into writing them a bit. They're not horribly done. It just doesn't. It's like reading something that it's just out. It's more than even just an alternate universe. It's just that I don't understand.
Yeah.
So you're always struggling with that the whole time.
Yeah. No, totally get it. So you're similar in that thinking as well, Chad. It really did rub up the wrong way.
I'm just not that enthused with this specific issue.
Yep.
There's tons of redeemable factors in the other ones, but this is just congratulations. This is the fault in this writing.
And so, what was the fault? Was the fact that, from what you're saying, that Bendis was showing that these personalities were meant to work, but they don't in this issue.
Sorry, I'm just bitter about it.
No, that's fair enough. No, of course. No, definitely. It's always interesting to have different takes on it, and I know a lot. We all know a lot of loonies don't really like this series at all. But like you, Rebecca, as well. I mean, when I did reread this, I don't know. Maybe it's just more forgiving because you know what you're going to expect. I can only imagine.
Yeah, I think it's that, and also but I always want to know for anyone if this was like their first Moon Knight, and
oh,
then
wow.
they went back and read the others.
Yes.
Like that, I always think that'd be interesting. Like, is it because we've already got our view of him?
Yeah.
Because it probably makes a lot more sense if it's somebody's first run, and
Yeah.
then they go back and they go, "Oh, actually, this is what's normally done with him."
Yeah, that'd be weird, wouldn't it? Imagine that. The shoe on the other foot. It's like, hang on, where's Spider-Man? Where's Captain America? It's like, no. You never really have.
But it's even like, at least then they know, they've at least got the idea that there's other personalities, and they're just, I don't know, it's just an interesting thing.
Yeah. I think I'm going to, I might have to just double check. I think John from TV Podcast Industries, I think one of the first Moon Knights he's read was the Bendis run.
There's definitely someone that I know who this was their first run.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting to, because I know John enjoyed the arc. He thought it was decent, but I'm wondering, how it's kind of factored in if it was his first exposure to Moon Knight. That is quite interesting. Yeah. With writing, then I guess, did anyone get a sense of a lot of Bendis-y speak? I don't know. I think I did a little bit with Marc, Spector, and Buck.
Yeah. And
The
also, why is he
exposition.
called Buck?
Yeah.
Like, why does he have to have a sidekick that's like almost Bucky?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Like,
I like his surname.
so many names he could have picked.
Yeah, I know. Buck Lime. It's got a pretty cool ring, but yeah, I know.
It does.
Tucker Lime.
But I
Tucker
kept
Lime would
thinking
be cool.
Bucky.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. I know you can't not think of the association with with Bucky, especially if you've got Captain America as one of your personalities.
Yeah,
You might
right.
as
And
well.
but I do like the ex-Shield agent. It's a smart person to go to, Marc.
Yeah, smart. I do like that little exchange at the beginning, the very beginning, where it makes Marc Spector look really stupid when Buck's going, look, you're not an Avenger. Yeah, I am. No, you're not. Yeah, I am. I'm a secret Avenger.
Secret Avenger.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice little joke.
Dependency, but yeah.
Yeah, it was. It just really made him look ridiculous there. So a little bit's there, but I agree.
And also the wanting the Captain America shield because it's cool.
Yeah, that was very Bendis-y.
That was very Bendis.
Oh,
Yeah.
I had to roll my eyes at that as well. At least he acknowledged.
Yeah.
At least he acknowledged it and goes, "What? Are you a 6-year-old?" Like,
Yeah, no, that was funny. Really.
but yeah, I mean, but why? He would not just want it because it looks cool. I don't know. Anyway,
No, he's got a cool cape and like
know.
Moon Knight dagger things.
exactly. I thought Count Nefaria was pretty good in it. I mean, he hasn't got much of a role. They've actually regurgitated a lot of the stuff which I've said previously. Again, we hear that he's toe-to-toe with the Avengers and he's fought Thor to a standstill. I mean, that's kind of like on repeat. But I got vibes of kind of like Homelander because of his eye rays and his flight and speed and stuff. But yeah, I thought he was done okay. Echo didn't really have much of a say in this issue as well. But
No, and there's not a lot of talking.
No.
And
no.
just there.
Yeah, but I did think the action scenes were. I mean, I did think the fight itself was pretty cool. I mean, it did run it the whole course of literally the issue, so it wasn't one of those more. You know how, like in some modern comics now, you don't get too much fighting. It's kind of like incidental. Whereas this time it was really kind of the focus of the issue, especially with the uses of seeing the Captain America shield and the web and the Wolverine claws. Yeah. But
it did feel very much like this is us creating the power. Oh, now we'll go to the fight as he uses the power.
Yeah. It did.
It's a very mechanical issue in that way. It's just, I mean, there's nothing very wrong with that because they all have they have big trunches of exposition in them. But this one was kind of like, oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah, it was. It was kind of like, this is the backstory to it, and now you see it in action. There it is. And it was like 1, 2, 3, like the big hits.
And it's because most of the dialogue for huge bits of the fight is just the personalities talking.
Yes. Yeah. And what did you think of the personalities talking as well? Do you think Bendis got the voices to the 3 right? I mean, he should have the Spider-Man voice, right? I mean, he has written Spider-Man.
I think they weren't too bad. I think Wolverine seemed very gung-ho violent. I don't know if he's always that way.
Yeah.
And Cap was a little bit good cop.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if that... Yeah.
Well, it was interesting to have some sort of narration.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I wonder, though, if it's also, like, Marc's impression of those characters. That's why. Because, I got that vibe of Wolverine being very... Like, it's kind of him generally. Like, he's just seen as this kind of animalistic, but he, there's a few more layers to him than that. Similar with Captain America. But I feel maybe Marc's mind is... This is how he sees them.
Which is why I don't have a huge quibble with them being very in their lanes.
Yeah. Chad, what did you think of dialogue, particularly with these characters? Any
Well, when it comes to Cap, it seems really one-dimensional, and I think that's, like you said, pretty, indicative of how he views Cap.
Yep.
Wolverine. No, I feel like Wolverine, despite who you are to him, he has a lot more sides than just
I think
freaking out for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, I think even Marc can appreciate that, even if he's only passing him.
Yeah.
Usually the most violent combatants are, they're that way for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think it's more the way he was carrying on Wolverine, like the personality, is more like, I don't know, someone who's way more maniacal, like, Bullseye or something.
Yeah,
so I think, I think that was kind of a bit off. I think Spidey was pretty cool, but he had the... Yeah, I mean, he was kind of middle ground, wasn't he? You can't go too wrong. He
suggests running away a lot and, make the odd joke and get on with it.
That's it, yeah. And just being the mediator, look, just call the Avengers... don't do anything. Just I did like aspect-wise, character-wise of Moon Knight though, and I have raised this a lot with Moon Knight, how he just doesn't care about the level of threat that he's up against. And again, I think that's pretty cool how he's up against Nefaria, who's way more powerful than him. So I'm kind of glad he has at least the shield, the claws, and the webs, because I don't know how he would have survived without them. But also as well, what I found was pretty funky. I thought it was pretty good in Bendis' writing, because he makes you kind of believe that Nefaria is really powerful, so keep your distance, da-da-da-da-da. But at the end, we find Marc's plan all along was to get up close, which, with the claws. So you're kind of led to believe once Nefaria gets him around the neck, you're kind of thinking, oh, stupid Moon Knight, what have you done? You're not meant to. The guy can, snap your neck in 2 seconds. But we find that, then we get the reveal of, the description of the claws and stuff, and you kind of, as you read it, you go, okay, he's gonna stab him. So
he's gonna be stabby.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that, that worked well. And whether or not it was a plan on, I don't know, but I thought it was pretty good. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, back to the sort of Cap characterization. Would he really be the one that says we do not kill? I mean, he was Second World
Cap
War
has killed
soldier.
a lot of people.
I mean, he's killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's just it just seems like, you're right, maybe that's how he thinks Marc feels about Cap, but
yes,
that Cap would argue, but most people know Cap's origin, and it's he's a soldier. All of them, he's the one who couldn't really be like, I've never killed anyone.
I know.
No Batman here,
Yeah. Who would be the Marvel character? It would be Spider-Man, wouldn't it? Or Daredevil, really. You'd have Daredevil.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, maybe.
Yeah. But no, that's true.
Don't think anyone's really anti-killing. No. Spider-Man.
Because
he'd web them up. Yeah.
Exactly. And so we get the
almost Otto's behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, what was that, Chad?
Almost Otto's behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in which case, then kill.
And then so we get the seemingly the death of Echo here, or she's pretty much severely injured. which is a big. This is probably the most, the biggest moment I think that's happened in the 9 issues so far. I'm saying that, Rebecca, you've read those 9 more recently. It's been a while since I read.
I mean, her punching Marc in the face was pretty cool.
Oh, that was pretty. That was literally just beating him up. Yeah, but she gets kind of done here, which I guess is a, as Chad you mentioned, I thought it was actually a good bit of writing in the fact that there's unrest within the identities, and that's led to a huge consequence. But that also actually leads into Marc going just ape crazy and potentially killing Nefaria on the last page with his claws.
Which I gotta say, that last page is really nice looking.
It is good, yeah, with the torn cape and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I had some other thoughts on this, but
I mean, he doesn't look like he's actually. He does look like he's launched himself over Nefaria, but it's a beautiful page.
It
doesn't look practical.
He's
but
kind
it's
of
beautiful.
He missed the target.
It frames the moon, though. I mean,
it's beautifully framed by the moon and the building. Look, the art throughout is gorgeous. The panelling's gorgeous. The colouring's gorgeous.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really, really good things in terms of how it looks.
Yeah, I mean, how many full moons have there been when Marc goes for a big, full-on hero pose? It just always happens to be a full moon. It's
maybe that's his power. A secret power. I can summon the moon to make me look good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right about the art. There are some good bits. There's a couple of pages once Echo gets shot, a couple of panels of, you see Marc's face through the black mask, and Maleev just shows you the imprint of the nose and the mouth as he kind of screams. I guess he's very taken aback by what's happened. There's some things with the art I see. I don't know. Again, I'm looking at one panel here with Marc and his identities, Spider-Man, Wolvie, and Cap. It looks like it's been pasted over the background. There's a definite, I don't know, the inconsistency with the colouring. I don't know if that's come up on your copies as well, or if that's intentional. But it really looks. Yeah, it really looks like it's just been copied and pasted over the background.
So I was kind of thinking about that earlier, because there's this one scene where Echo is facing Marc and says, he has a point. Talking about Nefaria. And that didn't make sense to me because, she's deaf.
Oh, yeah.
And how would she be able to know what he's saying?
Oh, yes, yeah.
So, there are so many breaks in her being deaf and not being in line of sight to lip read.
Yeah.
This whole series, so.
Which, I mean, sorry, Chad.
I think that when it comes to these moments where she's facing the wrong direction, but lit also differently, like here in that one scene, she would be casting a shadow over her visible face because of all that fire.
Yeah, the lighting is way off. Yeah.
I think it's just like trying to show that she's actually in a different pose, but addressing it, I don't know, I think they're just trying to show more sides of the field of view than what would be seen from that angle. Yeah,
so not realistic, but just artistic license. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. I think so too. I think you're being very very kind there, Chad. But no, I think, I mean, for sure, I didn't notice it, but you're right. That thing with Nefaria, even Marc's face is in shadow, and then Echo's isn't. It's quite inconsistent in that regard. But I mean, overall, we're talking about Maleev here. He's he knows he's a good artist for sure. There's no doubt about that. But we just like to pick on some of the little things. That's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
So,
You're here to be jerks.
yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm here for.
Exactly. Also, with Echo, I do like the fact that thankfully there's a little bit of a payoff that she's got the vibranium staff now, because we saw that in the previous issue. Buck gives that to her, but she gets to use it against Nefaria. Interestingly enough, Chad, I remember in our last review, which they didn't utilize, because in the Handbook of the Marvel Universe, apparently Nefaria has a weakness towards adamantium. Like, he gets sick around it. So it's interesting that they hadn't used that. That would have been a pretty cool tool to use, but she's got vibranium. It seems to do some damage, significant damage to him, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the fights quite visually awesome to look at. Like, he lifts a car, he throws it at Moon Knight, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Any other points anyone would like to raise on any of the writing, art, themes, characterization? What is the theme for this? The theme's basically, I think, what we touched upon it, about, you know, if you're not in harmony, then things go wrong. Is that right?
Oh no. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I think this is it's positioned 3/4 way of the way into the series. So this is the big fight.
Yeah,
So,
this definitely works.
Which means
Yeah.
there's not so much plotting. The
True.
big plot point is
Yeah.
that she dies and that Marc's gone like feral, and
Yeah, it's got to have that big beat of there being something big
yeah,
happening.
but that means there's not really anything
Yeah.
of any much consequence outside of that. So
Yeah. Well, I guess the question is then, and we're left hanging with this at the very end, is Marc going to succumb to just this one identity and, I guess, lose it, I guess? I mean, because Wolverine's seen as the most loose of the personalities, so yeah, I guess that's probably about it.
sure looks that way.
Yeah. Any other comments here, Chad, before we go to a rating?
Well, if we're going to be talking about, meeting here, I guess you could go ahead and say that Master Splinter was right. Not planning is a plan for failure.
Ah. Well, yeah, definitely. For sure. Well, speaking of which, has anyone read Last Ronin? Just want to...
Ooh,
No.
I have.
Is it
It
good?
was good.
Okay, don't spoil it.
It's really good, man.
I've got a digital.
No spoilers.
Yeah, it was next to impossible to get it. That really short print run, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's coming in December, second printing. But yeah, Rebecca, I don't know if you. Yeah, apparently it's really good. Like, so.
I heard it was.
I mean, I can't say I've ever collected TMNT or wasn't really into them at all, but I think this is a nice.
I'd like to, but I haven't read any.
Yeah.
I have the first 3 volumes. I just haven't read them.
Well, I think this one's apparently it's a nice doorway or, gateway.
Yeah,
For people who are interested.
You only ever hear good things about it, so.
Yeah. So I guess we get to some ratings then. Who would like to go first?
I think Rebecca would.
Okay, excellent. Thanks for volunteering, Rebecca.
I'll give it a 5.
You get
half the moon in Connor's rating, and look, half moon in your rating as well.
Yes.
And that's mostly for the art.
I was about to say that's a little disappointing. I mean, Connor's ratings are great, but I think out of all of 10 ratings,
I know
Connor's 5 is the least interesting.
Sorry.
Yeah, but no, that's okay.
I was going to go for a 6, but then I was like, I just think about some of the other comics I might give a 6, and this one was literally just not pointless to me, but it's not awful. It's just not great either.
Yeah.
So it very much is a sort of halfway point for me.
No, that's fair enough as well. And we've given plenty of getting small moons as well, so it's good to get something a little different. So there you go, half the moon for Rebecca. Chad, how about you out of 10? What would you give Moon Knight Volume 6 Issue 9?
I'd give it a telephone moon or, a waxing crescent.
Okay, I'm gonna put Telephone Moon in because it's
4.
Yeah, because Telephone Moon's cool.
That sounds cool. I'd like to get into the mind of Connor, just understand where these come from. Telephone Moon. It's funny because
I have no idea where that one comes from.
yeah, he's looking at like a crescent moon, going, yeah, it's like a telephone receiver.
Looks a bit like a phone, yeah.
Yeah, why not? All right, so that's a 4. My gosh, and I am going to give it. I'll stick with Connor's as well. I'm going to give it a solid round boy. I've given it a 7. It's kind of up there a bit more. I don't know how that plays out with other runs of Moon Knight, but certainly I think in relation to the 9 issues of this Brian Michael Bendis run so far, I enjoyed it a lot more than some of the others. I felt it since it's basically a throwdown between 2. I think it can really be seen or read standalone if you wish, kind of thing. You know, there's one big event in it. There were a few other issues before. I can't remember which ones, but they certainly seemed like you entered in halfway through something and you left, you know, before it ended because it was just a part of a greater whole. This for me had a bit more of a closure to it. Having said that, you know, Echo dying and Moon Knight hanging in the air on the last page, but so I give it a 7, a solid round boy. So that's pretty cool. So what are we? 9, 16, 5 and a third is the average mark. There you go, loonies. So 5.3 out of 10. That's okay. 5.3. It's made the halfway mark, so and it's just scraped through. So if you haven't read it, by all means, please do. Don't just take our words for it. I mean, we do like to voice our own personal opinions. Go check it out yourself, see what you think, and let us know as well. There's a discussion thread in on all the social platforms if you want to chime in with your thoughts. Just speaking of which as well, oh my gosh, we didn't get much feedback. I'm just going to do it now in our nightlines for this. There was only one, and I'm just going to pull it up now. It was on Instagram, and I don't want to get this wrong, so I'm just going to quickly find it. And it comes from, there you go, no, one moment. It comes from Mathis on Tristan. I think that's how you pronounce it. This was the run that really got me into Moon Knight. I loved everything about it. So thank you, Mathis.
You see, and that's the important thing, is that, like, I'm guessing that for people who didn't know any Moon Knight before, this was an accessible way into the character.
Oh, of course, yeah. You've got the 3.
Yeah. That's why I don't want to slam it. It's just, and it is gorgeous art, which really helps.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you've got, I mean, there's always the talk of Bendis obviously using the three big names in Marvel to kind of put the bums on seats. So it's great that you have Spidey and Wolverine and Captain America there. So for people who are unfamiliar with Moon Knight, you kind of eased into it a bit with them at least kind of being there. But yeah, no, thank you, Matisse on Tristan for that. That was really good. So that was on Instagram. So yeah, there you go, loonies. That wraps it up. As I said, Nightlines, that was the only a bit of feedback we got. Spectacle-wise, Rebecca, now before I go to any shout-outs or any plugs that you'd like to do, I'd like to just shout out the one that we're kind of doing, which I think will be released before this episode is released.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, so both of us, we're on The Last Sons of Krypton, a Superman podcast. We're on the next episode, and you and I, Rebecca, and along with Connor, we wrap up the rest of Secret Identities. Superman Secret Identities. Parts.
No, Secret Identity.
Secret Identity, sorry. Part 3 and 4.
Yeah. Part 3 and 4, yeah.
Yeah, which...
My choice, which is very random for a Superman podcast to have me choosing it.
It's been highly
wormed my way in.
It's been highly enjoyable, Rebecca. I can't say I
I really like it. So
yeah.
I'm glad you're reading it.
It's really good. Yeah, and we'll get into those last 2 chapters in our next episode, which should drop early in the week. Other than that, Rebecca, any other plugs that you'd like to give?
I'm doing a DCAU podcast. So we're going through all of the DC's animated content, and
Hey, that's
I've
a lot
never
of good
seen...
stuff.
Yeah, and I've not seen most of it before. So, and yeah, so
fantastic. And
go see what I think and hear me moan about how often Batman's in it.
And I actually just recently listened to your recent episode of Sons of the Dragon, Immortal Iron Fist podcast. So you had...
Oh yeah, that one as well. Gosh, I should... Yeah. Immortal's Iron Fist, Sons of the Dragon.
Yeah, you had a special guest on there, which was really cool to hear. Omar.
And Omar, our website.
Fantastic.
Facebook page.
Yeah, he's and, sounds like he's really into his...
Got to celebrate a new Iron Fist run coming in January.
Yeah, that'd be good. Chad, have you got eyes set on that as well? Are you an Iron Fist fan?
I'm not opposed to it. If it's a good run, I'll probably be down for it. But
Larry Hama should be a classic, one of the old classic writers.
There's a David Aha.
Oh yeah,
cover, which is like my key important thing at the moment.
Oh, that would be a beautiful cover. Far out. Who's the artist? Did Omar say that the cover artist was a Filipino as well?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know who the artist is. Is that really bad?
Oh, it might be up and coming, which is good, which is even better.
Maybe Jacinto? I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah. How about you, Chad? Anything? Where can people? I forgot to ask you as well, Rebecca. But where can people find you or contact you if they so wish?
Me,
yes.
I'm on Arbitrary Genius on Twitter. Pretty much the main place to find me.
Excellent. Arbitrary Genius. And Chad, how about you? What's your handle? I know it, but
well, for Twitter it's Angled Time, and for Facebook you can find me in the group, just Chad Jernigan. I'm all over the place, so
excellent.
You can definitely track me down.
Excellent. And we are now recording. We're recording via Discord. So you can also catch Chad and Rebecca in and amongst Discord. It's pretty cool. I'm trying to get into it a bit more, Discord. I'm trying to play with...
Yeah, I'm in a general comics one, which is why I'm around a bit more.
Okay.
But I very much forget it, and I'm finding it very hard to keep up with most things. So.
Oh, it's hard. Once there are like 100 channels, it's hard to kind of...
Yeah.
And that's one server, and then you got all these other servers.
Yeah.
But it is fun. I've been looking at the bots and all that, and seeing what it can do, and obviously we're recording via Discord now, which is pretty cool. So I like that idea. But anyway, yeah. Okay. Excellent. Well, next phase, Loonies, will be episode 174. Phase of the Moon will be a waxing gibbous, and as Khonshu decrees, it will be an other side of the moon. So for those that don't know, that segment means it can be any comic as long as Moon Knight is in at least one of the panels. It doesn't necessarily, it's not his title run. It could be anything from guest appearance to just fleeting appearance. But that will TBC. We haven't picked one yet, and my guest for that will be Matt Kona from the Quantum Zone. One of the co-hosts there at Quasar Podcast, and also he does a YouTube video film review of all these horror movies, Yale and Matt recap on YouTube. So it'll be really fun to get Matt on the show again. It's been a while. A huge thank you, Rebecca and Chad, for sharing the thoughts on this run. A lot of differing thoughts, which is great. I mean, this is what Bendis has done. If you set out to do that, then mission accomplished.
Well, thanks for having me again. It's been nice to be back.
Yeah, I mean, we'll catch you tomorrow as well when we record.
Yeah.
But no, it's been great, and I hope to get. I know it's a silly, the silly part of the year now as well. Things get busy, but hopefully we can tee up something again pretty soon. Yeah. And Chad, a huge thank you again, my good sir.
No problem. It's been fun.
It has been fun, and Chad and I, we have actually pre-recorded episode 174, which comes out in 2 weeks.
Nice.
175, which comes out in 2 weeks. And Chad and I, we do an audio commentary with another special guest, Alex Robson, from the Spider-Man animated series podcast. So that should be a lot of fun. But yeah, a huge thank you, Chad. I'll be catching you around the traps for sure. Once again, if you please consider checking out our Patreon page at patreon.com/ITK Moon Knight. You can see the incentives and the extra bonuses on offer there. Would really do appreciate it. But just the fact that you're listening is a huge thanks and a huge thing for us. So thank you so much for supporting the show in any which way you can. As mentioned, we're also sponsored by Hello Headphones. Use the code ITK Moon Knight and you get 10% off their online store. And Dreamland Comics, our other sponsor. Use the code MOON and you get 20% off their online store. A lot of really juicy back issues. So any Moon Knight comics that you need to plug those holes in your collection, go check them out. We're also affiliate members on Entertainment Earth. Please use the link in our show notes and that will help prop up the show. And finally, we are part of the collective as well. So great shows out there like Atalan Rising, a comic book podcast, the likes of Capes and Lunatics, as well as Resurrections, the Thanos and Adam Warlock podcast. There's a whole heap of them. They're really good. Go check them out. There's a link in our show notes again that will go to all their shows. But you can also check out them on Twitter at #TheCollectiveNet. And finally, you can drop us a line on any of the following on email, itkmoonnight@gmail.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Discord, as mentioned. Get Vocal. We've got a website and also on Podchaser. We'll be on any of that. And again, all the links are in the show notes. So without Loonies and without Rebecca and Chad, a huge thank you again. May the rest of your weekend be great. And the rest of your week too. And as always, may Khonshu watch over the denizens of the night. Catch you later.
Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Materials used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.